it's Randy. I'm really dreading making this video, and I've been going back and forth deciding whether or not to even make it. I think there's some value in it. I think it's gonna please a lot of the guys that were giving me shit, and a couple women that were giving me shit as well for, I guess, being so excited about meeting a guy that was attractive. You know, don't ask me why that's such a crime, but apparently it was. And so that was on Wednesday evening. As you can see, I was excited because the guy was, you know, good looking. I thought he was my type. And I was looking forward to, you know, continuing to get to know him. So this is the part where I really do not want to get judged. I don't want a bunch of shit. I don't want people freaking out about this. So at the end of the last date, I had told Anthony that I'd like to have him over for dinner. Now, remember, he lives an hour away. And when you drive an hour to come to dinner, and, you know, possibly you're going to have a couple drinks, even possibly not. I mean, it's like 10 degrees outside. To me, it's good planning to bring clothing and bring maybe your phone charger and bring some items in case you might spend the night. And I'm not saying sleep together or have sex. I'm saying spend the night. I mean, that's what we do around here in Michigan. Friends, they might spend the night at their friend's house because they just don't want to drive home, especially if it's an hour drive. Okay. It doesn't have anything to do with sex. It just has to do with consideration. It has to do with, you know, comfortability. Well, what's the point? You know, why can't I just stay here on the couch? And I just hope that people would understand that I did set that out there, that he could stay on my couch if needed. So therefore, I'm setting the stage, and that is exactly what I said. I said he can stay on the couch. Drinking involved or no drinking involved, it's late at night, you know, snuggling on the couch, possibly watching a movie, possibly, you know, falling asleep, and then, you know, I anticipate that this stuff can happen. So I was like, just, you know, wear comfortable clothes. You know, the guy's a jock. I'm like, it's Sunday. It's the only day off. Just wear comfortable clothes over sweats. We'll have dinner. And bring stuff, you know, in case you don't want to drive home. And you can spend the night on my couch. And I just think that's just like normal consideration. You guys may think that that is like way out there, but to me it's not. So and I would appreciate, and I have done the same thing at other people's houses too, people that I really haven't known that well, but like, you know, when you get to a certain point and you just don't want to drive home and there's a comfortable extra bedroom or couch and the person offers and you just say, yeah. And I wasn't scared of this guy, anything like that. So that's my preface. So anyway, Anthony comes over. He drives over. He gets here at like 6:15, 6:20. It's dark already. Cold and dark. And I had like prepared the dinner so that all I had to do was kind of put it together at the end. He walked in the door and he had his, Sunday, comfortable sweats on, which I had told him to wear. Be comfortable when you come over. It's cold out. It's not going to be like a formal thing. My son came in the door a few minutes after, and he ended up staying. He was here all night, so it wasn't like I was with this guy alone at my house. My son, who's an adult, was here. He's very protective of me, and he was glad I had a date. He's glad to see his mom finally, inviting somebody over. So Anthony walks in and he sees my cat. I have 2 cats. He sees one of them and he says, do you have like an antihistamine or a Benadryl or something? I said, yeah, I'll check. Why? And he says, well, I'm allergic to cats. Oh man, I'm thinking, damn, that would have been a nice conversation the first time we met, because I had just in the summer been telling my son, who was dating a girl that was allergic to cats, and had to buy her antihistamine and have it back in his his part of the house. And I had said to him, honey, you know how you love cats, and being with somebody who's allergic to cats just probably isn't going to work for you. Actually, I've never dated anybody who was allergic to cats myself, but I had just got done telling him, that's just not something that's really going to work for you, honey, and I know it's not going to work for me. So he kind of sprung that on me, and so I gave him an antihistamine, this tiny, tiny little pill, and I had some like grapefruit jalapeno vodka with ruby red grapefruit juice, and I had half of one, and I poured him one, and he sucked it down. Probably, it's a big guy, it probably tastes like Kool-Aid to him. I made him another one, and then I had a salad. So we had a salad, a couple pieces of cheese bread, and then chicken pepper pasta is what I made with Parmesan cheese and linguine and red and yellow peppers and chicken breast and mozzarella cheese. So I gave him a big plate of that, and he was just, loving it, eating it, and came over to the couch, and I was like, well, while I clean up, go ahead and put on whatever you want. And so I came back into the living room. Of course, he's got football on, and I was like, no, we're not watching football. Ha. No, I'm not doing it. not at this point. I'm not watching football news. So I switched it to like Saturday Night Live that I had taped. I'm like, oh, this should be good, I guess. I hadn't seen it from the other day. So Saturday Night Live was on. We're sitting on the couch, and it was on for less than, it was still the first skit. And I look over, I hear something, I look over, and Anthony has got his eyes closed, and he is snoring. I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, all right, he just shut his eyes, right? So continue to watch the skit, and then I looked back over and I kind of nudged him. I said, "Are you falling asleep?" So it wasn't even 8 o'clock yet. He hadn't been over for an hour and a half. He's like slouched down on the couch, sawing logs. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? And then it dawned on me, oh my God, he came in and took that antihistamine, had a couple of drinks, and then ate 2 big pieces of bread, 2 salads, and a big plate of pasta. And he's like down for the count. So, I mean, I watched a couple more of the skits and I could see he was not waking up. And this was my date. So I kind of like scooted away. I put his feet up on the couch. I set up the pillows. I gave him a blanket, put a blanket on him. I turned the sound down on the TV. And then I proceeded to go into my son's area and tell my son, oh my God, I'm like, he is asleep. My son's like, oh yeah, that happens, he took that antihistamine. I'm like, this is too funny. This is crazy. I can't believe it. Like, he is so zonked. He's totally knocked out. And so, like, me and my son I kept, like, coming back and looking and kind of, like, spying on him to see if he had moved, see if he was, like, still asleep. He was still asleep. He was, like, so asleep. So I started, like, turning off lights and, went upstairs, got my pajamas on, and went to bed. My bedroom is upstairs. I watched some Netflix, I watched some new YouTubes, and I went to bed at the regular time I usually do, around 11:30, and the guy didn't move. And so that was my date, and he slept a full 12 hours. Woke up, didn't want coffee, and just kind of said he was embarrassed that he fell asleep, but he was glad because at least the cats didn't bother him. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, well, just, kick me out whenever you got to start work. And I said, okay, a few more minutes. And then I said, all right, well, I'm going to start working. And so he left. He's like, we've got to do this again. And I was like, yeah, sure, we got to do it again. I'm thinking, what, we're going to do a repeat of you passing out after you take an antihistamine because you are allergic to cats, which I didn't know. And, bummer, but yeah, it's a deal breaker. There's a couple other little things. They weren't like huge red flags or anything, but they were just kind of like, he's really slow moving. He's like kind of sluggish. I think he's lazy. He kind of talks slow. I mean, he's so easygoing, like a little bit too easygoing. He talked about his dad having a heart attack at age 47 and dying. And so he's 50 right now. And, I don't know. He's probably not that healthy. He can't see worth shit. He's like blind as a bat. When I handed him a drink with a stirrer in it, he started to sip the stirrer as if it was a straw. So he cannot see. And I'm like, that's not a straw. It's a stirrer. And so he can't even see what's right in front of his face. And I don't even see how he can see the TV. Doesn't wear glasses. He was out in his car for 25 minutes before he even drove off. So, I mean, guys, I guess it's not gonna work out for me, unfortunately. But what an experience that was. Never had that happen before. Guy passed out on me. Thanks for listening.